Wendy is at a facility doing her best to be her best. She's taking it day by day. People forget that she deals with grave disease.
They are lying, and he's claiming they're lying. They're signing her up for projects that she's not ready for, including a possible unscripted show.
Wendy Williams, once the queen of daytime television, now finds herself trapped in a legal nightmare that would make even the most seasoned courtroom dramas seem tame. The woman who once aired out the secrets of the rich and famous is now battling to reclaim her own life from the grips of a court-ordered guardianship that has stripped her of nearly every personal freedom. It's a chilling, almost dystopian reality where the talk show icon finds herself unable to make basic decisions about her day-to-day life. And as the story unravels, it's becoming increasingly clear that this isn't just about legal oversight. It's about power, control, and the shadowy alliances that might be working to keep Wendy silent.
Taking advantage of the dysfunction. Why do you want to document somebody's just downfall?
Let's start with the basics. Wendy says she can't even access the internet or use a phone without permission. Think about that for a second. The woman who made her career breaking stories and spilling tea, someone who thrived on being connected, informed, and unapologetically vocal, now can't even Google her own name or pick up the phone to call a friend without someone else's say-so. Her finances, completely out of her hands. Her living situation, decided by others. The guardianship, which was allegedly put in place under the guise of protecting her from exploitation, has instead created a prison of isolation and dependency. Even Wendy herself has described her life as being akin to incarceration, saying she feels like she's in a luxury prison. But the real question is, who's holding the keys? The more you dig, the murkier it gets. Wendy's current legal predicament seems to have roots that go far deeper than just a few bad decisions or health setbacks. Her court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, reportedly has complete control over Wendy's finances and major life decisions. But the kicker? Wendy never asked for things to go this far. According to Lisa Monterroso, Wendy's healthcare advocate and one of the few people fighting in her corner, Wendy initially agreed to a form of financial oversight because she thought it would protect her from being taken advantage of. She never imagined it would lead to this level of control, where she can't even choose her own doctors or freely communicate with her family. It's almost like the system set her up to fail, and now she's stuck in a nightmare that's spiraling out of control.
I genuinely feel compassion for her.
But here's where it gets truly sinister. There are whispers, growing louder by the day, that Wendy's downfall wasn't just a tragic coincidence or the result of her own missteps. Some believe this guardianship is part of a larger conspiracy, orchestrated by powerful figures in the entertainment industry who wanted to silence her. And one name keeps popping up in these conversations: Steve Harvey. Yes, the same Steve Harvey who's built a brand on family values, motivational speeches, and that signature mustache. On the surface, he's the lovable host of Family Feud and the man behind a seemingly perfect blended family. But behind the scenes, there are rumors that Steve Harvey might have played a role in orchestrating Wendy's current predicament. Why? Allegedly to protect his own interests and perhaps those of his close associate, Sean Diddy Combs.
Because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down.
Now, before you roll your eyes, consider the history here. Wendy and Diddy have been at odds for decades, ever since she started exposing his alleged secrets on her radio show back in the 990s. Wendy was one of the first media personalities to openly challenge Diddy's carefully curated image, questioning everything from his business practices to his personal life. She didn't just poke the bear, she provoked a lion, and the fallout was immediate. In 1998, Wendy was fired from her Hot 97 radio gig, and to this day, many believe Diddy had a hand in her dismissal. The rumor mill suggests that he pressured the station, threatening to pull all Bad Boy Records artists from their airwaves if they didn't cut ties with Wendy. Whether or not that's true, one thing is certain: Diddy and Wendy have been locked in a Cold War ever since.
This is Wendy Williams, the hottest radio host in New York City.
Fast forward to today, and the animosity between the two hasn't cooled. If anything, it's reached a boiling point. Wendy's public reaction to Diddy's recent legal troubles, where she essentially said it was about time he faced consequences, was a rare moment of vindication for her. But it also reignited old tensions. And here's where Steve Harvey comes into play. There are allegations that Steve, a longtime friend and ally of Diddy, may have helped orchestrate Wendy's guardianship as a way to neutralize her. The theory goes that Wendy, with her platform and her willingness to speak out, was a liability to people like Diddy, individuals who have built empires on carefully controlled narratives. By placing her under guardianship, they not only took away her freedom, but also silenced one of their most vocal critics.
And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
It sounds like something out of a Hollywood thriller, but the pieces start to click when you consider the timeline. Wendy's guardianship was put into place not long after she began hinting at explosive secrets about certain entertainment industry heavyweights. And let's not forget Steve Harvey's own ties to controversy. While he's managed to keep his public image squeaky clean, there have been long-standing rumors about his connections to Diddy's infamous parties. You know the ones. Those over-the-top, ultra-exclusive events that have become the stuff of legend and scandal. While there's no hard evidence linking Steve to any wrongdoing at these parties, his close friendship with Diddy raises eyebrows. Could it be that Steve, in trying to protect his own reputation, became a pawn, or worse, an accomplice, in a larger scheme to take Wendy down?
I can't wait. I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background.
And then there's the matter of Wendy's warnings. Over the years, she's dropped cryptic hints and not-so-subtle jabs about the dark underbelly of the entertainment world. She's spoken about power dynamics, about people who will do anything to protect their secrets, and about the price of crossing the wrong people. At the time, many dismissed her as messy or overly dramatic, but now, in light of everything that's happening, her words feel less like gossip and more like prophecy.
Right?
Correct. She had those tests. She's been deemed she is not incapacitated.
A test with flying colors.
I know.
And I think it's great news, and it's public, and everybody knows, factually that Wendy's not incapacitated.
It's not just Wendy's supporters who are raising questions. Even legal experts and industry insiders are starting to take a closer look at the circumstances surrounding her guardianship. Why was it pushed through so quickly? Why has it been so difficult for Wendy to regain control even after passing multiple cognitive evaluations? And why, despite mounting public outcry, does the court system seem so intent on keeping her under this restrictive arrangement? The more you dig, the more it feels like there's a larger, more insidious agenda at play.
For Wendy Williams, we saw earlier this week fans rallying outside of the assisted living facility where she is staying. That was clearly a big boost to her. We could see that in the video.
As Wendy continues to fight for her freedom, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about one woman's battle. It's about the lengths people will go to in order to maintain power and control. It's about the dark alliances that exist in the entertainment industry, alliances that can make or break careers and lives. And as the spotlight turns to figures like Steve Harvey and Diddy, the question becomes, how far are they willing to go to protect their secrets? But the story doesn't end here. In fact, it's only just beginning. Because while Wendy battles to reclaim her life, another storm is brewing, one that threatens to expose even more shocking truths about the people and the power structures that have shaped this saga from the very start.
Yeah, I mean, the end goal is to get her out of that draconian institution she's in, that she doesn't belong in, because she's not incapacitated in any way, shape, or form. She's in a ward where people don't know their names, where people don't know between a red light and a green light. I mean, she's in a place where, people are dangerous to themselves. She's not. She can't leave there on her own to go get a cup of coffee.
And just when you think this tangled web of power, betrayal, and backroom deals couldn't get any darker, the spotlight shifts to Sean Diddy Combs himself, the man at the center of so many whispered allegations, lawsuits, and shattered lives. While Wendy Williams fights tooth and nail to claw her way out of a guardianship that's essentially left her voiceless, Diddy's own empire is crumbling under the weight of accusations that make even the most scandal-hardened Hollywood observers do a double take. What's happening here isn't just about one man's downfall. It's a ripple effect that threatens to drag down everyone tethered to his orbit. And yes, that includes Steve Harvey.
Incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent until proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent until proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent till proven guilty.
Diddy's world, once the epitome of untouchable luxury and influence, is now a boiling cauldron of lawsuits, federal investigations, and allegations so damning they've effectively rewritten the narrative around one of music's most iconic figures. He's no longer just the mogul who built an empire from the ground up. He's now the alleged ringleader of something far more sinister. Racketeering, conspiracy, and misconduct are just the tip of the iceberg. The fallout from his arrest has been seismic, with more than 100 individuals stepping forward to file civil lawsuits against him, each more shocking than the last. The stories are harrowing, the details disturbing, and the implications absolutely devastating. Many of the lawsuits paint a chilling picture of a man who allegedly used his power and influence to bend others to his will. One particularly damning case involves allegations that Diddy orchestrated highly elaborate and controlled environments where vulnerable individuals were manipulated into compliance. The lawsuits claim that attendees of his events were subtly isolated, with their phones confiscated and their movements monitored. Witnesses have described a palpable sense of unease at these gatherings, where the air of exclusivity masked something far more calculated. It's this pattern of control and coercion that has become a central thread in the accusations against him, one that prosecutors seem determined to unravel.
That with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
adding fuel to the fire is the testimony of several former insiders who've come forward with evidence that could potentially blow this case wide open. One former employee who worked security at Diddy's events has claimed in sworn statements that certain areas of his properties were strictly off limits, even to staff. These areas were reportedly outfitted with surveillance equipment and operated as private sanctuaries for Diddy and his most trusted circle. This employee's testimony suggests that what happened in these spaces was carefully recorded, raising the possibility that evidence implicating other high-profile individuals could still exist. The idea that there could be a treasure trove of recordings hidden somewhere has sent shockwaves through Hollywood, with some insiders reportedly scrambling to distance themselves from the mogul.
Well, Sierra, anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
The lawsuits also allege a long history of retaliation against those who dared to cross him. According to court documents, individuals who refused to comply with Diddy's demands often found themselves blacklisted in the industry. Opportunities dried up overnight, partnerships dissolved, and once prominent careers were reduced to rubble. It's a pattern that speaks to a culture of fear and intimidation, one that many believe has been a key factor in keeping these stories under wraps for so long. And now, as former collaborators and associates begin to speak out, it's clear that the fear is finally starting to crack, but not without consequences. Some of these whistleblowers have already reported receiving threats, adding another layer of tension to an already volatile situation.
Is he this gangster that behind the scenes is that him? Or is that
Shout out to Wendy Williams.
Perhaps the most explosive element of the lawsuits, however, is the sheer breadth of the allegations. This isn't just about one man's actions, it's about an entire ecosystem that allowed these behaviors to flourish unchecked. From corporate executives to entertainment lawyers, there are claims that multiple enablers turned a blind eye to Diddy's alleged misconduct, all in the name of protecting their own interests. Some of these individuals have been named in the lawsuits, while others remain cloaked in anonymity, at least for now. But what's clear is that this isn't just a story about Diddy. It's a story about the dark underbelly of an industry that has long prioritized power and profit over accountability. But let's not forget who Diddy is, or more precisely, who he was. For decades, he was the kingmaker of the music industry, the man who could turn anyone into a star with just a glance or a handshake. His parties were the stuff of legend, attracting the biggest names in entertainment, people who knew that just being in his orbit could change their lives. Yet, as the lawsuits pile up, the true nature of these infamous gatherings is coming to light, and it's a far cry from the glitz and glamour that once defined them. These weren't just celebrations of success, they were allegedly orchestrated spectacles designed to exploit and manipulate. And now, with former attendees coming forward and federal investigators digging deeper, the myth of the untouchable mogul is unraveling in real time.
And then what's the stuff that's happening with Wendy Williams? Do you think this is all connection to?
Of course.
And here's where things get even more interesting. The growing allegations against Diddy don't just implicate him, they cast a long, dark shadow over everyone who was a part of his world. Enter Steve Harvey, who, as it turns out, might not have been as far removed from Diddy's inner circle as he'd like the public to believe. Rumors are swirling that Steve wasn't just a passive observer of Diddy's antics. He was a participant, a collaborator, or at the very least, someone who turned a blind eye to the chaos. And if those rumors are true, it raises a chilling question. How much did Steve know about what was really going on behind closed doors?
It's like haters. When you get haters, you know, people's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters.
The timing couldn't be worse for Steve, who's already dealing with his own share of personal and professional turbulence. His marriage to Marjorie Harvey, once held up as a beacon of love and resilience, is reportedly on the rocks. And while the official story is that they're as strong as ever, insiders are painting a very different picture. Marjorie, who has her own controversial past, is said to be considering her options that could include walking away from the marriage altogether. Why? To protect herself and her reputation from the storm that's gathering around her husband.
Hey, Marjorie, the thing that Marjorie's not telling you all.
Telling everybody's
yes,
business? Okay, now don't let me start telling Steve's business.
Marjorie's past is no secret. Her previous relationships, including marriages to men with questionable reputations, have long been a topic of tabloid fascination. But now those old stories are being dragged back into the spotlight, coupled with new allegations that suggest her current husband might not be as squeaky clean as he pretends to be. The whispers about Steve's connections to Diddy's infamous events aren't just whispers anymore. They're echoing louder and louder, threatening to drown out everything else.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So I love my man, but what you mean, but?
And let's not forget the elephant in the room, Wendy Williams' vindication. For years, Wendy has hinted at the darker side of Diddy's empire, dropping breadcrumbs about the power dynamics and manipulations that have now become central to his legal troubles. She's called out the entertainment industry's complicity, hinted at the secrets everyone was too afraid to confront, and paid the price for her outspokenness. And now, as Diddy's empire crumbles, it's impossible to ignore the fact that Wendy was right all along. She saw through the facade, and she wasn't afraid to say it out loud, even when it cost her.
Please, stop. Stop ignoring the red flags in your relationship and thinking you can change a man.
But vindication is a double-edged sword. While Wendy's warnings are finally being taken seriously, she's still trapped in a system that seems designed to keep her silent. Her legal battle is ongoing, her freedom still out of reach. And as the spotlight shifts to Diddy and the fallout from his alleged actions, there's a very real danger that Wendy's fight could be overshadowed. It's a cruel irony. The very industry she spent her life exposing might succeed in burying her story, just as the truth she fought so hard to reveal comes to light. Meanwhile, the questions surrounding Steve Harvey's role in all of this are only growing louder. Was he just an innocent bystander, caught up in the chaos through no fault of his own? Or was he an active participant, complicit in the very schemes that have now brought Diddy to his knees? And if Steve did play a role, however small, what does that mean for his future? Will his carefully cultivated image as America's favorite TV host survive the scrutiny? Or will he, like Diddy, find himself facing consequences he never saw coming?
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
As the legal battles rage on and the public demands answers, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Diddy's trial is set to begin next year, and the revelations that come out of that courtroom could change everything. Will more names be implicated? Will more secrets be exposed? And will Wendy Williams finally get the justice and the freedom she's been fighting for? Or will this tangled web of power, control, and corruption claim yet another victim? Let us know what you think down below. Is this just the tip of the iceberg, or have we already seen the worst of it? Who do you think will come out unscathed, if anyone? Drop your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.